My name's Euan Walker and I'm a former ProDream USA client. I played college golf at the University of Missouri.
Okay, Euan, tell us a wee bit about how you started playing golf.
I started playing golf when I was about 5 and my mum and dad took me along to the North Gales driving range just along in Irvine. And I think from the moment that I started hitting the golf ball, I was hooked and I really enjoyed it. I think that I did have some amount of kind of natural ability which allowed me to hit it at least reasonably at first, and because that allowed me to kind of maybe be better than average, I think I was able to get more enjoyment out of that. And a couple of years, or maybe a year or so after I first went to the driving range, I started playing in the course at Gales, and I remember the first time I wore football boots because I thought I had to have studs in the bottom of my shoes, and I think I absolutely chopped it up the first, but like for some reason I absolutely loved it, and from that moment never looked back.
So you come from a golfing family then, parents play?
Not really. My grandpa played quite a lot up in Greenock, and my mum started playing around about the same time actually that I started playing, and then my dad started playing as well. So we've kind of done it a little bit together, but I wouldn't really say I come from a golfing family.
Okay.
No.
Interesting. So in terms of when you were growing up playing golf, who were your biggest golfing idols and why?
I don't really know if I had any massive golfing idols, but certainly when I was young, I looked up and watched Ernie Els play quite a lot when I was probably 8, 9, 10, and I remember going to the Open in Troon in 2004, and Ernie came and signed my hat, and I was quite small and he was absolutely massive, and it was quite scary, but yeah, he was about probably as close to as it got to a golfing idol. But there's been other guys over the years who have kind of admired part of their game or their attitude, but idol's quite a strong word, so I'm not really sure that that's quite what you're
Not quite that, no worries, no worries. So we're here at Kilmarnock Brassey, your home club. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into playing golf here, and how they've been in terms of supporting you from a junior to where you are now?
Well, I think first of all I started playing at the Troon municipal courses down at Welbeck and St Medans, playing in Fullerton a Friday night and a Saturday morning, and that was kind of what got me playing competitively to begin with. But at the time, Brassey was renowned for having a really strong junior section, and it was somewhere that there were a lot of players, and that you knew it was going to be good to kind of develop your love for golf, I suppose, and improve. And so I always wanted to join here, and I think that you had to be 11 years old to join at the time. And so when I was 11, I got in and I became a junior member here. And I think that the kind of environment was really good. Probably the best thing about Brassey was there were always a lot of other players and of a good level that you could come down and play golf with. And I remember as a junior I used to come down and there would be like 15 juniors in the practice area all lined up hitting balls on a Saturday morning, and that was it's not really the case now. I don't think maybe necessarily anywhere across Scotland, but yeah, at the time that was great for fostering like the competitive element, and you know, always wanting to beat all your friends. And I think that especially initially that helped me. Before I realised that I wanted to take golf further, that certainly helped me like keep wanting to come down, because I knew there were going to be friends there to play with.
And Brassey's had a lot of good junior golfers as well. You would have been there just after Jack McDonald.
Mm-hmm.
I think who else?
There were a lot of guys that played actually in boys level for Scotland, and myself and Callum Gordy were probably last. Callum played under 16s, and Jack obviously before him, and guys like David Addison played and won the Scottish boys under 16s.
Robert McKnight,
Stephen
McEwen.
McEwen. So yeah, there's been quite a rich history of the boys internationalists at Brassey.
Tell us a wee bit more about your junior golfing career, your successes, and what you managed to achieve.
Yeah, I think that the first time I really had a big success as a junior was in 2009. I was 13 and I managed to win the West of Scotland Boys Match Play, which at the time that was like a massively significant win for me.
13-year-old as well, yeah.
I think that kind of proved to myself that I could potentially compete, and I had a chance to play for Scotland in the future. So from that moment, I was probably more dedicated and more driven towards improving at golf, and at the end of that year, I was selected into the Scottish Golf Academy and was able to progress from there. And a couple of years later, it was the first time I played for Scotland in the boys under 16 quads at Royal Musselburgh in 2011. And yeah, that was great to have an experience playing for Scotland. I think that's very special the first time. So that was the first time I played for Scotland. I went on to compete internationally at under 16 level for the rest of the year. However, I kind of, during the winter, kind of lost my way a bit with my swing, and was a bit more involved with school, studying for hires, and the following season, 2012, wasn't great. And to be honest, I didn't do anything. I didn't feature at the top of any of the Scottish events, and yeah, that wasn't what I wanted for my junior career. So I knew going into my final season at under 18 that I really need to improve a lot. And I'd started working with George Boswell just in at about the time where I was kind of hitting it poorly. So we worked really hard over the winter 2012.
Going into your last junior season?
Going into my last year as a junior. And that was absolutely massive. I came out and I played really well. And yeah, I played for Scotland at the under 18 quads, the European boys and the home internationals, and yeah, I had a great year. Was really consistent, and that actually set me up really well for going out to America to college. It gave me a lot of confidence, and yeah, I think that kind of work that I'd put in and the results I had there in my junior career kind of led me to go on to be successful in college golf.
So when did you actually make the decision? When did you decide, I want to go and play college golf in America? Was that before your last year as a junior? Was it something you'd always thought about, or was it something fairly late on?
Yeah, I think that probably when I had that good season as an under 16, I thought that yeah, I do want to go out, or I do at least want to try going to college golf in America. And to be honest, I would say that it was only after that a lot of people I knew started, I was aware that they were all going out. And so at the time, everybody I knew was obviously a bit too young to be going out. But so when I was 15, 16, and that was when I signed up with ProDream USA, because we'd had a few conversations, and one of my friends, also Euan Scott, was in the same age and the same boat, and he wanted to do the same thing, albeit he was far more successful as a junior than I was, so he was in a kind of better position to do that. But about 2011, when I was about 15, 16, I decided that I wanted to go out, and yeah, I suppose I didn't actually kind of commit to anything until the end of 2012, but I was always sure in myself that I wanted to go and try it, you know, regardless of kind of what placement I got.
So tell us about your parents. Were they supportive of your decision to go to the States? How did they kind of take the news that you were going to get up and leave and potentially spend the next 4 years away from home?
Yeah, they were absolutely delighted to get rid of me.
Understandably.
No, my mum and dad were really supportive, as they have been throughout my career, and still continue to be very supportive. So they knew that was a great opportunity for me, not just for golf or academics, but just kind of in a lifestyle point of view. You know, it was exciting. I could have, you know, the alternatives were potentially going to university in Scotland, and obviously at the time going to university in America. It seemed like a really exciting thing, and yeah, what a great opportunity. Who wouldn't want to do that? You know, so yeah, they were absolutely supportive, and yeah, my mum did a lot of the work as well for me, kind of with stuff with the NCAA clearinghouse and things like that. I actually did nothing at all. I just showed up. My mum made sure everything was all good, and well, along with you guys at ProDream USA, you know, small parts. So my parents were really supportive, and yeah, they were with me every step of the way, even when I was out there as well.
Good stuff. We mentioned NCAA, we mentioned your second last year as a junior. You were obviously studying hard. You'll have done the SAT at that point, and you've got one of the highest SAT scores that we've come across, which obviously helped open up more opportunities for you. You had the opportunity to go to University of Missouri. What was the final decision like for that? Why did you choose Missouri over other opportunities that you might have had?
Yeah, the reason, to be honest, I knew as soon as I arrived in Columbia, before I even met anybody, before I saw any of the facilities, that I was going to want to go there. It was just like exactly what I imagined, you know, a college in America was going to be like. I visited in the first week in November, and I think that without that visit, I wouldn't have been so sure. It was absolutely critical. When we showed up in the hire car, it was kind of like a chilly autumn day, and I just felt right at home right from the start. And when I met all the other people there, that kind of, I'd already decided, but it just kind of confirmed my decision that I wanted to go there. Everybody was really helpful and friendly, and I thought that of all the places I visited, the facilities for both golf, academics, the campus, everything was the best, the nicest, and I think they had the most money to put into their athletic programs, and for me that clinched it. But I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't gone out to visit, and also that was the first time I'd visited America, but I just really liked the atmosphere basically.
Okay. So you're getting ready to go. Before you actually went out to start your degree and start your college experience, what would you say you were hoping to get out of going on a golf scholarship and playing college golf? What was the end goal?
I thought that I was going to come back from 4 years and be ready to play on tour, which wasn't really the case at all. I think that was maybe quite naively the goal. I thought that it was going to be like a kind of preparation for playing tour golf, which in many ways, there were many things about it that were a good preparation for playing tour golf. But I suppose that I also knew I was going to get a degree, and that was absolutely massive to know that I could basically have a free shot at playing professional golf if I wanted to, with the knowledge that I could fall back. And it's so cliched, but I mean it's really true. I feel like I'm in a good position that whether or not my professional career works out, I'll be able to go into industry and make a career for myself there.
What was it you studied again?
I studied mathematics.
Mathematics?
Yes.
That's what not very many people will study mathematics whilst doing a golf scholarship and playing at such a high level. So why did you always want to study maths? Or?
Yeah, I did. I applied to study maths at universities back home as well, and for me that was just it was what I was best at school, and it was great. I think other options would have been science or engineering, but to be honest, I'd probably steer people away from them if I were to go into college in America, because sciences you have to take a lot of lab classes, and that kind of really hurts your golf practice time. And engineering is a lot of group work and kind of project work, which again, it hurts your practice time. So I thought that maths actually fit really well with the golf, because basically you go to class in the morning and then you just need to show up for the tests, and as long as you work hard, then it should be fine. But it doesn't really kind of hinder your preparation for playing golf. No, there's really no practical at all. It's just all reading books and trying to do problems. So that suited me quite well, I think.
Aside from golf, what was it like just studying in America?
Yeah, I think studying in America was great. I initially was very surprised at the intensity of the work required at university. Perhaps I would have had that shock anyway if I'd gone to university in Scotland, but I remember because I'd taken advanced higher maths, I kind of...
As you do.
Well, if you're going to study maths, probably have. So I managed to kind of basically test out of a number of classes. So the first class I showed up for at university was Calculus 3, and I walked in and the teacher started writing all this stuff up on the board, and I was like, oh my God, this is not for me. And I actually remember a couple of classes in a weekend, maybe FaceTime my parents being like, God, I think I need to change major, I'm just not going to be able to do this. But I think that was just in the acclimatization period. The teaching style was very different at university to school, and once I kind of got some studying under my belt, it was all good, and I really enjoyed studying because, well, I enjoyed it as much as possible, because I knew that I was going to do well in the exams, and that was going to help me in my future. So as much as I could, I enjoyed studying, and I think that the environment at the University of Missouri really helped that. The professors, everybody was really excited and willing to try and help you if you were showing interest, and especially as a student athlete, they would always be interested to hear what you were doing, how golf was going. I think once they realised that you did want to try and put in a lot of effort, they would go out of their way to try and help you. So I think the atmosphere was great, and yeah, studying was as enjoyable as it could be.
So you're obviously studying maths and balancing that with your golf. Was there much support there to help you when you were missing class, when you were travelling for a tournament? How did the university support that?
I think that there is a lot of support, but the onus is all on the student themselves to go out and seek that support. So I could just not have showed up for the classes and then, you know, showed up a week later and missed loads of stuff and thought to myself, why do I not know what's going on? But for me, I was really prepared. Every time I went away, I would speak to all my professors before I went away and say, look, I'm going away. Can you send me information about what I'm going to miss? Can you send me notes, you know, or can we meet up and discuss what I've missed? And from that point of view, as I said, all the professors, they were willing and able to try and help you, and they would go out of their way to do so when they found out that you were excited and wanted to learn as well.
So how did your golf develop as a result of playing US college golf?
I think that I'd had a really good season when I went out, and the kind of development was already in progress, and I played really well in my first season, and you know, it was all going great. But over the next couple of years, as I had to study harder at university, my golf kind of deteriorated a little bit. And I think that the biggest thing I think there were two things that I learned and improved dramatically on while I was in America. And the first thing was I learned how to still shoot a respectable score when everything was going badly, my swing was off and I was hitting the ball sideways. And I think that was really important because there are times where you're on the road for maybe a couple of weeks playing in tournaments, and then you're back and you're qualifying, and there's not really a lot of time to work on things. So if everything's going poorly, then you're kind of stuck, and you've got to be able to, you know, find something and grind out a score. And I think that I learned how to do that, and ultimately that's going to stand me in really good stead whatever level of golf you go on to play. And the second thing was my putting improved like dramatically. I think that I'd always had decent putting technique, but probably the access to facilities and the greens that were good all year round, and playing in a lot of different courses where they were very undulating, fast, smooth greens really helped me improve my putting. And fortunately, I've continued that improvement since I've come back, but I think those 4 years like really transitioned my putting from being like pretty average to being an outstanding part of my game. So those were the two main areas that I improved on while at college. I think that the technical improvement is something that is ongoing regardless of where you are. But yeah, scoring and putting, I think, were just things that I learned to do in America.
So when you first went over there, was homesickness something that played a part? Were you homesick? If you were, did you have any techniques for overcoming it?
To be honest, I wasn't homesick at all. I just like absolutely loved it right from the moment I got there.
Mum and Dad won't like that answer.
They were keen to keep me away as long as possible. Nah, I didn't get homesick at all. I knew that I was going into a kind of ready-made group of friends, other guys on the golf team, and you know, I think especially my first year we were really close. We did a lot together. So no, I wasn't homesick at all. No, I absolutely loved it, and didn't want to come home really. It was, you know, I think at the end of the semester you're pretty tired and you want to come home, but at the same time I kind of really enjoyed what I was doing, studying and practicing, and yeah, that I think that because I enjoyed it so much, it meant that I didn't miss home at all.
And from a social point of view, how did you find America?
Yeah.
Lots of new friends from different places.
Yeah, well, you meet a lot of people, and I think what's important when you go out to America is you've got to try and embrace the culture, which, okay, we're both kind of developed Western countries, Britain and America, but it is slightly different. The people are slightly different, and I think I really did embrace the culture, and that allowed me kind of lots of social opportunities, and I met lots of new people, and you know, we did things, social events, and going to watch sporting events, college events, and yeah, just generally doing things on campus. And I think from that point of view, I did meet lots of people, and I had lots of new experiences that I wouldn't have had if I hadn't gone out to America. So yeah, it was great. I think that the social scene in college there's something for everybody. You know, you can do whatever you want, and or as much or as little as you want, but the opportunity is there for you if you want to take it.
So I know we're going back a couple of years, but if you can try and talk us through what a typical day in the life of Euan Walker was when you were at Mizzou.
Okay, well I'll do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which would be the days that we'd have workouts. So I normally got up at 5:35 or something like that. I try to edge my alarm back as far as possible and still be able to make it to workouts in time. So about 5:35, get to workouts, and we'd have workouts from 6 to 7. So that was, well, a good or a bad way to start your day, depending on how you want to look at it. But for the most part, I enjoyed it. Once I was up and at it, I enjoyed working out, and then go straight from workouts into the athletic dining hall, get breakfast, probably not spend too long there, and go back to where I was staying, up in the dorms or apartment, and have a shower, go to class. Normally, when my first class started, it was a bit variable, but normally about 9 o'clock would be my first class, and I tried to schedule all my classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because I knew that I had to be up early for workouts anyway, so I wanted to get all my class out of the way. So typically I would have class in 9 to 12 or 9 to 1, probably 3 or 4 different classes, well, at least 2. So I'd been in class from 9 to 1, and then I'd either have gotten a to-go box at breakfast and taken my lunch with me, or I would go back to the athletic dining hall for lunch. And then I'd be out to practice, which would normally start maybe about 2 o'clock. Practice from 2 to 5 or 2 to 6. Usual stuff, range, putting green, chipping green, sometimes on the course for practice. And then we'd be back in at the athletic dining hall again about 6:30 maybe. Dinner 6:30 to 7:30 maybe, and then I'd be in the study hall for the remainder of the night, absolutely grinding. Yeah, not a lot of free time. I'd probably finish up studying maybe about 10 o'clock, and be back home in bed around about 10:30, 11, and ready to do it all again the next day. Although on Tuesday, Thursdays we wouldn't have morning workouts, so quite full on. But yeah, that's what it takes to be successful.
So generally speaking, what was the whole experience for you like?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I couldn't say enough good things about going to college in America. I think that the general experience was brilliant. Studying, living in another country, meeting lots of new people, and doing lots of things that I never thought I'd do. I really got into country music, and I really got into American football and stuff like that. And yeah, to those days, some of the things that I kind of got into in America are still a big part of my life, and still play fancy football with the guys.
Who's your American football team?
Well, to be honest, I don't really have a kind of NFL team. Obviously support Missouri college football, but whoever my fancy football players are on.
If you could name a couple of highlights from your time in the States, what would they be and why?
The best, I finished runner-up in my second tournament, and it was at our home course, and it was great. It was I thought I was going to walk into the athletic dining hall the next day, and everybody was going to be like, wow, yeah, and he's such a god. But no, that didn't actually happen.
Was that in the first semester?
Yeah, that was about 3 or 4 weeks, about a month in, yeah. A month in.
And what did you shoot?
I shot 6 under for over 3 rounds. So, yeah, decent performance. Was it a highlight? Yeah, it probably was a highlight. I think that the whole experience was just a bit of a highlight. I felt like I was on holiday the whole time, despite how hard I was having to work. It's so difficult to pick out one individual moment. There were times where I performed really well in a golf tournament, but the golf almost felt like the golf is almost like it's like a job, and well, it is for me a job now. And going to a tournament and playing well, that I came away thinking, yeah, well, that's what I was trying to do, wasn't it? So it wasn't like it wasn't unexpected. So I think. I loved mixing with all the other athletes and kind of going to all the other events and learning about what they all did, and we'd all sit and talk about practice and things like that, and I liked that kind of culture, and quite apart from the golf, I think that I would never have been able to achieve that anywhere else, and Yeah, so I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't think
No,
of any
all
better
good.
highlights. But
So since returning from America, it's fair to say that you've had a pretty successful period in the amateur game. What would you say you took from your experience in America which helped you to achieve what you've gone on to achieve in the last couple of years?
yeah, I think the kind of two things that I mentioned earlier on with regards to how my game improved has like really stood me in good stead over the last couple of years. I mean, I would never have reached the level that I have at the moment without being able to putt the way that I have over the last 2 years. I mean, it's like quite simply, it's changed my game, the way I've been able to putt. And yeah, okay, I don't hole everything every time I play, but like with a consistency with which I've managed to hole, you know, however many footage of putts, or the putts gained statistic in Golf Data Lab is like, yeah, it's been really critical in the success that I've had. And I think that since I've come back, I've worked a lot on my swing, and that's in addition to the improvements in the kind of mental ability to score when things haven't been going well, and in addition to the improvements of putting well, the swing has just kind of added that a little bit more consistency off the tee, which is where I've kind of generally struggled throughout my career, and it put me in the position where I'm able to go and shoot a score rather than always just kind of coming from behind and scrambling to make a par or something like that. So
You're still working with George Boswell?
yeah, I'm still working with George, so it's kind of ongoing improvements. After I came back from college, I decided that my swing wasn't good enough and that I was going to need to kind of more or less reconstruct it entirely, which I'm in the process of doing, and you know, it may take several more years before it's reached the level that I'm happy with, but it has been improving, and that's obviously helped my results as well.
So as we mentioned, very successful the last couple of years. You got to the final of the British Amateur and obviously deservedly so got picked for the Walker Cup. What was that experience like?
The Walker Cup in itself, yeah, it was quite incredible. It's kind of like the whole week is like a bit of a show. So I think that the preparation for the tournament probably wasn't how I would have prepared individually, because there's quite a lot going on. There's dinners at night, and there's a kind of a lot of media commitment during the day. There's a lot of kind of things going on, which made it feel like it was a show. And when the event starts on Saturday, there was the crowds were, you know, pretty massive compared to what we're all used to, and it was a bit of a shock playing in that environment. But it was great. It was great to feel that pressure and be put in that situation prior to turning professional, because ultimately, if you want to be successful, you're going to have to be able to thrive in that situation under the pressure of having lots of people watching, or you know, being really nervous and when you've got to hit a good shot to stay in the match or stay in the hole, or you know, whatever it may be. So yeah, the pressure kind of really helped, and yeah, I think otherwise it was great. I mean, we lost obviously, which wasn't what we were looking for, but it did seem actually that with the loss, it was more about the experience of playing in the Walker Cup and feeling all the emotions that came with that, rather than the winning or the losing. And that sounds like a terrible thing to say, because obviously we're all trying our hardest to win, but it didn't really feel like we'd lost on the Sunday night.
Didn't diminish the experience for you?
Not really, no. But obviously I've not played in a winning team, so maybe that feels a lot better, I don't know.
And since playing in the Walker Cup, you've obviously taken the plunge, you've went and turned professional, you've had the chance to play in the European Tour. Was that always the plan this year?
I think that was what I always hoped was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to be able to play myself into a situation where I'd be able to get an invite into a European Tour event, but you know, fortunate enough to get an invite into the KLM and the Dunhill Links, and to be honest, those experiences were far less nerve-wracking than the Walker Cup. So you know, I showed up and it just felt like a normal round. So yeah, I suppose that was the plan all along, but I didn't know whether I was really going to be able to execute it until very late on.
So how do you think your time in America will help you to progress in the professional ranks now that you've turned professional?
Now that I've turned professional, I think that I've realised that it's almost like, well, for me, I've been set up as a limited company, so I was going to say it's almost like running your own business, but in actual fact, it is running your own business, and for me, it is running my own business. And there's much more to that than just playing golf. These last few weeks, I've been spending a lot of time kind of trying to get finances set up, and you've got to be ready to deal with the travel commitments and the finances. I mean, in particular, my management company, Bounce, have been helping me a lot with that, and they've kind of put me in a really good position so that if I do have I hope when I start having more success, and when I do earn money, the money's coming in, and I know exactly what to do with it. You know, that's the whole position with the finances. I've got we talk about the bicycle wheel, we've got all the spokes in place in the wheel, like ready to deal with any kind of situation that might happen. So a lot of those are kind of unrelated to golf entirely, and I think that going to college in America has really helped because I already know how to manage my time and deal with non-golfing time constraints, i.e. studying and working to achieve a degree. So in that sense, I'm just applying that knowledge or that experience into a kind of slightly different environment, managing the business, which is actually, probably easier than studying mathematics. So yeah, I think that it would be a bit of a shock for somebody who's never kind of had that education or academic understanding to turn pro, and suddenly they've got all these things to deal with. And I think that maybe that happened to me because, I was fortunate to have quite a high profile season, and I was put in a position where, I've got potential to earn money right away. I've got potential to kind of start looking at contracts right away. And I'm fortunate that that's happened. But I do, as I say, from college in America, have the ability to kind of deal with all that extra stuff.
So there will obviously be a lot of junior golfers watching this. What would your advice be to any junior golfer who is seriously thinking about playing golf in America?
Yeah, I think that my advice would be just to go for it and to contact yourselves at ProDream USA because, seriously though, you helped me out a lot and you got me a position that I wouldn't have got otherwise, and I had the time of my life and I wouldn't have traded it for anything else. So, just go for it. But I think you've got to go with the expectation that, I'm going to have to work really hard, both at golf and academically, and it's not always going to be going well. But just know that as long as you embrace the culture and you spend time getting to know people and getting to understand what life in America is all about, then you're going to have an amazing 4 or 5 years, and you're going to kind of come out as a much better person afterwards. And you're going to have a degree as well, which is what you're going for, along with the golfing experience.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Cheers, Euan.
Thank you very much.